Welcome to our first episode of Nurturing the Whole Child with Teacher Miriam. Today we look at who the whole child is, because this is a term we are going to constantly use, because our intention is to equip ourselves, and by ourselves here I mean the caregivers, teachers, parents, and anyone who is involved in taking care of children. So since it's a terminology we're going to constantly use, we need to ask ourselves, who is this child we are referring to as whole? So as the name suggests, a whole child is a complete child. A child who is complete in regards to all the domains of development. We are talking about a cognitively sound child, an emotionally sound child, a socially complete child, morally complete child, spiritually complete child. So we are talking about all the domains of development, a child who is thriving in all the domains of development. We are also talking about a child who is thriving in an interconnected environment. Because this child goes to school, this child stays at home, this child interacts with his or her peers, this child is taken care of by caregivers, by family members, and so this child is living in an interconnected environment. And so we are asking ourselves, how are we, how can we raise a whole child in these various environments without hurting or without interfering with the child's development in any of these domains? So a whole child is a child who is not fragmentized. We are not looking at this child at school and saying that at school, I'm only interested in your cognition, I'm only interested in your cognitive development. What you do with your emotions, what you do with your social behavior and relationships is none of my business. That is not what we are saying. We are saying whether at school, whether at home, whether in Sabbath school, whether in Sunday school, whether the child is out there playing with their peers. We as caregivers, as educators, as parents, we are interested in the totality of this child. A whole child is a child that is thriving in an environment that is challenging enough, while the child is enjoying safety, the child is feeling secure, the child is feeling loved, the child is getting challenged. The child is not just being left to handle things that they can do and then not being encouraged to try things that they may find uncomfortable or challenging to them. So we are asking ourselves, in all these setups, how can we ensure that the child we are raising, the child we are nurturing is whole? The child we are nurturing is not feeling like at this point when I go to church, no one is interested in my cognition, no one is interested in anything else. Everyone is interested just in my spiritual well-being. A child is just complete. I mean, just as an adult, just the same way as adults, we go to our places of work. And if we are not okay emotionally, then definitely our productivity is affected. That's the same way if a child's emotions are not taken care of, when they go to school, even when they are handed over to the best of teachers, they will definitely not thrive. While at home, if the child is not put in an environment that challenges their intellect, and maybe the parents feel like for, for cognition, we will take the child to school on Monday, then we are not nurturing a whole child in the home environment. So we shall, in our subsequent episodes, delve into length and into greater depth at how we can nurture this child into wholesomeness at the various environments where children grow. We will look at how to nurture a whole child in a school setup, how to nurture a whole child in a home setup, and how to nurture a whole child in the society where the child is growing up. We are going to look at in ways through which we can stimulate the child's cognition while allowing them to grow emotionally and socially, and also inculcating values and morals into the child, so that at the end of the day we have a child who is complete, a child who is emotionally regulated, a child whose intellect is being put into use, a child who can handle challenges and thrive while through them, a child who is in touch with their emotions, with good interpersonal and intrapersonal, because we know that a child is capable, a child has all the deposits of greatness, just as an adult has. So it is the duty of the caregivers, it is the duty of the educators, it is the duty of the parents and anyone who is handling this child to call out the greatness from this child. And we can only do so if we are creating an environment that enables this child to thrive and this child uh, to grow out, to grow in totality, to grow out as a whole child. So when we talk about nurturing the whole child, it means that we are not looking as a child as part of a whole. We're not looking at the domains of a child's development as parts of a whole. We are looking at a child as a child who has emotional needs, as a person with emotional needs, uh, physical needs. We are interested in if they are growing, are they growing physically, are they adding weight, are they growing taller? We are interested in their intellect. Are we giving them challenging and stimulating tasks, or are we limiting them? We are interested in their emotional well-being. How are they handling their emotions? Is the child emotionally regulated? And when we talk about emotional regulation, we are looking at situations where the child sometimes may be out of control of the emotions, maybe what we call as adults throwing tantrums. A child is all over and a child is becoming uncontrollable. And we are looking at socialization. How is a child fitting into the society? This society could compromise their peers, their family, and the community as a whole. We're looking at their moral development. What is their sense and concept of right and wrong? So we are not limiting this child and focusing on one aspect of their development, which is what has been done over time, especially in school setups. So you take your child to school, and sometimes the child is handled like, here we are only interested in your brain, we are only interested in your learning ability, without realizing that this same child needs to grow physically. This same child needs to interact. This same child needs to be in touch with their spirituality from a young age. So as we shall be going on, we will look at how in these various environments, what can we do at home? What can we do as parents? How can we handle, how can we respond to children to make sure that we are helping them to manage their emotions, to make sure that we are tapping into their intellect, into their cognition, to make sure that we are giving them uh, uh, tasks that encourage their cognitive development. Because generally, a whole child is a child who is growing in an environment that is healthy, an environment that is safe, an environment that is challenging. We, in as much as we are looking at a child thriving in an environment where they are taken care of, we also need to put them in an environment where we are setting boundaries for them, so that a child grows up knowing their limits. This is how far, this is what is allowed, and this is what is not allowed. At times, it may be mistaken to mean that we want to allow children to get away with anything. No, nurturing a whole child means that we are guiding the child in a loving way. When they are wrong, we are able to discipline them in a loving way, correct them, and reassure them. And once behavior is corrected, we we reward the good behavior, so that the child grows in an assured manner. So nurturing the whole child means that we are interested in raising up a complete being, a person, a child who has values, a child who will thrive, not just in one set of environment. You know, there are children who do not know how to function outside their homes. because they get out there, they are unable to make friends, they're unable to fit well into new environments. We are looking at ways of equipping our children, building resilience for them, helping them build resilience for themselves, so that once outside our gates, this child can still thrive. There are other children who cannot thrive outside the classroom setup. Once the teacher stops asking the questions, once they are not able to provide those answers, they just go down. So we are looking at nurturing a child so that in whatever environment they find themselves in, they will still thrive. Nurturing the whole child also means that we are interested in other aspects of a child's growth that cannot be measured by grades. We know when we put our children to school, we are all excited and eager to receive good grades from them. But when we get interested in nurturing this child in totality, we will all come to a realization that there are aspects of a child's growth and development that can never be measured by grades. So we will be asking ourselves, if this child is not getting an A grade in math, or in numeracy, or in literacy, what else can this child do? Is the child a good singer? Is the child a good dancer? Is the child an artist? Is the child a good speaker? Is the child a team player when they're given tasks with their friends? Is the child cooperative? Is the child able to handle a multiple task? We will be looking at the other intelligences as discussed by Gardner. What else can this child do that is outside the classroom, that is outside the grade? So we are encouraging caregivers, parents, and educators. Let's look at children not from a monofocused position. We need to look at them as complete beings and give ourselves towards molding them as total beings, bringing out the very best out of them, considering all the domains of development. So in our upcoming episodes, we will look at how do we nurture a child, how do we help a child grow as a whole being in the home environment. What can we do as parents? What can we do as teachers in a school setup? How do we get interested in a child's development away from what grades they can score? And in the society, what can the society do to equip the child, to make the child grow up in totality? We have to ask ourselves, are they physically okay? So we have to be concerned about their growth physically. Are they getting the right nutrition? Are they getting enough sleep? Are they getting enough exercise? Are they getting exposed to the right environment? Are they getting enough sunlight? We need to be interested in their physical well-being. We are asking ourselves, are they put in an environment that challenges their intellect? Or are we just telling ourselves these are children? And in that case, even when we buy for them play items, we are asking ourselves, are we buying them play, or are we making them, or are we exposing them to play activities that are appropriate for their ages? We are asking ourselves, are our children in touch with their emotions? Are they regulated? Are we listening to them? Or are we putting them in a position where they are only to be seen and not be listened to? Do we believe that children can have a voice? Do we believe that children can express themselves? Are we giving them space to say what they feel, what they like, what they don't like? Are we dictating all the terms for them just because they are children? We are asking ourselves, are we allowing them to experience a situation where they can choose between what they feel is right for them and what they don't feel comfortable with? Or do we just shove things down their throats? So we are saying, in essence, that just like an adult, just like a mature human being, a child needs to be handled with respect, a child needs to be handled with care, a child needs to be put in an environment that is to facilitate their thriving. See you next time during our next episode where we look at how to nurture a complete child, how to nurture a whole child in the home environment as we get out into the school environment, because we all say that charity begins at home. So nurturing the whole child begins at home. We are going to be talking to parents, talking to caregivers, and talking to all those people in the home environment on how to nurture a whole child from the home environment. And so people, if you like this content, please feel free to share to your friends, share to your relatives, and click on the notification bell just to be notified in case any new video is coming up. Thank you and see you next time.